Yo, my CPM on this ad set is $1,130. All right, guys, I wanted to talk about running brand campaigns in the digital space, because this is really difficult. This is surprisingly difficult to do, because digital is really geared toward direct response. It's really, we do a lot of performance marketing, which is kind of direct response. Direct response is getting somebody to take an action, also called sales activation. This is differentiated from brand marketing, right? Brand marketing is like, a slow, long-term type of thing. It's the Coca-Cola polar bears. It's the Acura ads with, I think it's Acura with Matthew McConaughey in the ad, or it's booze ads with beautiful people looking like they're having a great time. Those are brand ads. First, direct response is trying to get somebody to take an action from that ad. The digital space is really geared toward direct response. If you look at any of the stuff that any of the data that Facebook or Google or anybody's giving you, it's really focused on, tracking leads, tracking sales, claiming credit for that kind of stuff. But what we know that that's not actually how advertising works, okay? Nobody sees an ad, and for the first time, that's their first exposure to the brand, first time ever seeing the product. See the ad, click the ad, go to the website, buy the product. That has never happened. Almost never, right? What actually happens is you're exposed to the brand many times. You've heard of them. They're salient in your mind. You know who they are. There's some trust built up over years often. You don't just go out and buy a Mercedes or buy an Acura. Everybody knows what Mercedes, everybody knows Acura, everybody knows Ford, You wouldn't just go out if a brand new car popped up and you just went out there and you saw it at the dealer, never heard of the brand ever in your entire life. You're not gonna just buy that car, right? Most products are like that. You have to have multiple interactions. And so the online platforms are interesting because they sort of claim credit for converting you into a buyer, into a customer. But we know that's not really the full story, right? We obviously want to optimize for that in a lot of cases, but that's not really the full story. So, we've been playing around a lot lately with running brand campaigns on digital. And it's actually surprisingly difficult. And the reason it's difficult is this. Let me show you guys this screen right here. This is my screen in Facebook ads, okay? I am running a brand awareness campaign, and this is just like a little test campaign. We're running this brand awareness campaign, and you can see when you run a brand awareness campaign in Facebook, they give you these estimated ad recall lift rates, which are brand related metrics, and they're basically saying, all right, 10% of people who saw this ad are going to remember the ad essentially. Per estimated cost per ad recall, 5 cents, 29 cents. That sounds pretty good. If I look over here, cost per 1,000 people reached, we're talking about $21. If we look at our CPM, we're talking about $4 CPM. So Facebook is looking pretty good here at a $4 CPM. This is where digital kind of tricks you if you're trying to run brand campaigns. Those impressions, you cannot compare those impressions to TV impressions. So if we're going to try to run a brand campaign in the digital space, we need to be able to compare it to a benchmark, and probably the best benchmark to compare it to is TV or radio. And so let's take TV, let's call it like a $50 CPM on TV is like our benchmark. Now let's try to compare Facebook brand campaigns to that. Now we can't compare them directly. We can't use Facebook's CPM number, because here's why. When you're watching a TV ad, what are you doing? You're sitting there in front of the TV. Often you're consuming the ads passively. There's some evidence that passive consumption of advertising is actually more effective than sort of active consumption, which is kind of what you're doing on websites. Can't really skip them. Now you can have DVR, and a lot of people DVR shows that they really like and watch them through, but a surprisingly small number of people are skipping ads. So you're consuming these ads, these TV ads passively. You're watching the entire thing. It's video, it's audio. Video and audio, the more senses you engage, the more effective advertising is going to be. So you're watching the entire thing, you're sitting there, you're consuming it passively. And how long are TV ads? I don't know what the average is. Maybe it's 30 seconds or something like that. So let's say you've got a 30-second ad. That is a 30 seconds where you are captive. You have a captive audience for those 30 seconds as an advertiser. And they're consuming it passively. Facebook, you're not consuming passively. You're actively flipping through and you're like, ad, right? We all do that. We're like, that's an ad, skip it, right? So you're actively skipping stuff. Well, Facebook is counting those impressions as impressions. And we cannot say that an impression that you barely even saw the ad as it was flying past your feed. We cannot say that that is the same thing in any way as a 30-second TV impression consumed passively while you're sitting on the couch, right? These are completely different things. And so if we're going to compare TV advertising to brand advertising online in the digital space, we have to somehow level set. We have to compare metrics, compare apples to apples here. And CPM that Facebook gives you and that Google gives you is just really, really misleading for that. So what do? Well, you can run video ads online. And so what I'm doing here in this brand campaign is I'm running video ads, and I want to compare TV to these video ads. And so how do I do that? Well, I can look at through plays. Through plays on Facebook, it's a video metric, so it only applies to video. Through play is if the user watched 15 seconds or more of your ad. So kind of getting close to TV. Now, if we're going to assume TV is 30 seconds on average, this still isn't quite as good, so we probably have to adjust for that. But let's say these are 15-second through plays. So now I also have a cost per through play. This is a brand awareness campaign. These are videos. And look at my cost per through play. 83 cents, $1.30 per through play. Now we can convert that to a CPM by multiplying it by 1,000. My CPM on this ad set is $1,130. $1,130. What is the math on that? I don't even know. 1130 divided by 50. So 22 times more expensive than TV to run my videos on this brand campaign. 22 times. That is insane. That is completely insane. So what you're gonna get when you run a brand awareness campaign is something like this. So the better option is to run a video views campaign. So let me show you that campaign. And here's another quick little test running video views. Same ads, same ad set, same target audiences, same everything. But look at the difference in cost. My high-end cost on that other campaign was $1.30 per through play, per 15-second view. This is 4 cents per through play, which equates to about a $40 CPM. Okay, now that is way better. Now we still have this issue of 15 seconds versus 30 seconds, so I would probably correct that even more and say it's a little bit more expensive than 40 cents or than $40 per 1,000 impressions. But I'm also targeting people in my target audience, so my targeting is a little bit tighter than it would be typically on TV. So I have to account for that. So if you're gonna run brand advertising online, you have to be aware that a digital impression, the way they report CPMs and digital platforms, is not even close to the same thing as TV. And you have to figure out ways to account for that, right? If you're just running a display ad, an image, it's gonna be a little bit harder. If you're running video, it's a lot easier to sort of compare apples to apples. And if you're gonna do that in Facebook, run it through video views campaigns. See you guys, hope that helps.